Hello, my name is Bernie Garcia, and I'll be doing a journal reflection on methods and strategies in Christian counseling. For these first 2 weeks, it's been absolutely amazing. For me personally, it's been eye opening to understand different methods of how people would use these methods to according to the approach of how, depending on the situation someone is going through. So, for example, I know that we are going to be talking about, we're going to be writing about the case study on Jake, but this case study was actually quite insane, especially reading it because it's just incredible. But like, it's crazy, um, painful. You could just feel the pain within the story of just like, man, you could just imagine, like you can imagine, but at the same time you can't imagine what he went through, even if it was a made-up story. So the first thing that I've kind of noticed from the case study is that Jake never really had a dad growing up. Never had a dad growing up. The only memories that he's ever had of his dad was whenever he was drinking, or he was laying down on the floor asleep, or he was just fighting with his mom. And those were his only memories. And then the moment that when he was 10 years old and he came home from school, when he found his dad lying down on the ground dead without any idea what that cause of death was, that was just absolutely insane. We cannot fathom the idea of what he may have got, what he went through, what was going through his mind of all of that, especially as a 10-year-old kid. Like, that's traumatic for a kid like that. And for us to be able to find out that it was very difficult, if it was soon later difficult for him to fall asleep, it's possible that um, he, he just couldn't fall asleep because of the fear of his dad, because of his dad dead right there lying down on the ground. And so it's become a very difficult thing that has just come back to haunt him. Some would say that this is even possibly PTSD. But something that I've noticed, that the counselor that was taking care of him, that was counseling him, she kind of like was saying that, like, in the beginning, it seemed like he was still just trying to settle into school, right? But I don't think that was the problem at all. I think the problem was that he was just dealing with something within himself that just was just keeping him from, you know, um, performing academically performing well, and it was just causing him. So when you think of all these stories, think of all these events that led up to this moment, I believe that the number one thing that that's just been really, really hurting him, and that's just been affecting his whole entire neuroscience, his whole entire brain algorithm, that's just been just affecting his cognitive learning and everything. I believe it's his father wound. Sorry, wound. I believe it was that. I believe that was the moment that he's learned that, like, man, I don't have a dad. I never grew up with a dad, and I don't know how to be a dad to my own child. And then when he made mention that he really wants to pursue his faith and that he wants to pursue God, it tells me that his soul is really truly wanting to reach God. And this is where the transformational approach comes in. And transformational approach is like spiritual formation, where for everything to come aligned with how your lifestyle is, your spiritual life must be first transformed. So that's something that I'm going to be embarking on for the rest of these weeks, especially for the case study. So that's something that is like really, really hit me hard for these first 2 weeks, as a reflection on the case study, on strategies, methods, especially with transformational approach. I am a huge fan of the transformational approach. I believe that 100% before someone can be really, really transformed mentally, they must be first transformed spiritually. And this is very, very, very important, crucial for everyone, because our soul longs for something, desires for a satisfaction, something to satisfy our soul's needs, and that is something spiritual, and that spiritual is God. And so I'm really super excited about this. Let's get this going.